Let's get an LA San Francisco look from the Whale Capper joining us today. What is your move? Have you made a move?
So this one's super tough because looking ahead last week, I'm kind of eyeing up the lines and I'm like, man, San Francisco -3, huh? Like, wow, boy, that's a lot of points. These two teams are really kind of close together. And then you see how the games play out last weekend and it flips to Rams -3. And I'm thinking, whoa, that is a enormous adjustment. It's not, really based on injury or player surprises. This is all kind of known information who's going to be available in this one. So that was shocking. And then to see it go to 3.5, this is a massive, massive adjustment on 1 week's of information. It's tough for me to say that this is a fair price at this point. If you're laying 3.5 with the Rams here, you just know that you are betting a number that has been moved well past, what is a reasonable range for these two teams. They can still win, they can still cover for sure, but this is tough to defend a Rams play from a math perspective in any way, shape, or form. And you flip it to, okay, well, are the Niners live in this one? What can they do that can really take advantage of the Rams? I would say that for sure, if they lean pretty heavily on the running game, I have huge questions about some of the linebacking core from the Rams. Really, everyone outside of Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey is a question mark for me on the entire Rams defense. They lost another couple players last week that were depth players, and the Rams are a stars and scrub lineup. Like when they can't afford to lose guys that are part of their starting core, even if they're guys that you don't know their names. It's just asking for to test their depth, which just isn't there on this team. So it is possible that you have a softer landing here in terms of who the Niners are going to face in terms of a defense, and in terms of an offense. I get it. The Niners defense has regressed so spectacularly this season. It doesn't even look like the same unit. A ton of that is because of how many of their star players are either on different teams or out for the year with injury. I'm curious to see if Richard Sherman comes back in this one. My guess is he's going to go. I took the Niners at +3.5. Thinking this is probably going to come back to 3. It was a value play, really, in straightforward terms. There's a gravity that comes along with the fact that the favorite is flipped here between last week and this week. I think the market is gonna pull back just based on that gravity. I doubt we see any other surprises in terms of injuries that aren't positive news for the Niners at this point. It could happen, but I took a swing at Niners +3.5. I think they're live in this game, and I'm a guy who always kind of looks forward to certain situational spots in the calendar, and the Rams have done a ton of traveling over the last 4 weeks, made 2 trips to the East Coast, played a home game against the Giants, another trip to the East Coast last week. So this is their now 4th week traveling in 5 weeks. That wears on a team, and a team without a lot of depth, a team with, a couple of nagging injuries. I think that might be just enough to kind of tilt things in the balance here in favor of the Niners. So I think the Niners can get a win. I took the +3.5. And I'm pretty nervous about this game, though, because really there's not a lot that I've seen from San Francisco this season that suggests that they're anywhere close to the same level as last season. But when a push comes to shove, I love what Shanahan has had in store for Sean McVay offense, Sean McVay defenses. So I think they can play a little bit of keep away, a little bit of bully ball, and get the win against the Rams.
Ooh, Bebsy, what do you think of that breakdown?
I mean, it's a great breakdown. There's one bit of information that might upset you, Whale Capper, and that's that Sherman had a setback and he will not be playing. He had a setback in his calf injury, so they're saying he's probably not going to play. They also lost Quan Alexander to a high ankle sprain this week. There's just too many players out on San Francisco. Just a quick rundown. They're without Ronnie Blair. They're without Nick Bosa. They're without Solomon Thomas. They're now without Quan Alexander. And in their defensive backfield, there's just nobody. There's literally nobody. They signed another guy off a practice squad this week. He's going to dress. I don't know if he's going to play. it was a weird choice last week to start Brian Allen, who got torched when Witherspoon was back in the game. When he came in, they were a little bit better, but by then the game was already lost. So for me, it's really if they can start, if Mosley comes back, and they have Mosley and Verrett playing corner, then they might be able to put up a defense. But the other thing, they're without K'Wan Williams, who is one of the most underrated players in the league. He is a shutdown slot corner. And without him, they just got exploited last week. Now, the reason I think this is a tough game to call, even with how bad the Niners have been and how deflated they are and how injured they are, they always play the Rams tough. Even when the Rams are great and the Niners are shit, or the Niners are great and the Rams are shit, these games come down to a field goal so often. And it's been like that for like 2 decades. I don't know why. That's the true rivalry in that division. I know Seahawks fans think it's Seahawks-Niners. It's not. You just started watching football 10 years ago and you don't know what you're talking about. But that's the real rivalry, and they always get up and play. So if the Niners have 2 healthy corners and can stick to their game plan, they can keep this game close. But if they don't, then they're just going to get torched by this Rams offense. On the other hand, look, Jimmy Garoppolo's still hurt. He played hurt last week. I'm not going to put a ton of stock into his performance because he was trying to throw off one leg. Now, one-legged Jimmy's probably still better than Mullins and Beathard, but their entire offense is predicated off the run. And a lot of it's play action. And if Jimmy can't do play action, then that's going to handcuff them. And if they get down early, they can't go to the run. But last week, even getting pumped that bad, I think Raheem Mostert still ran for like 100 yards on 9 carries or something. So they can move the ball running, but if they get down early, then it's a disaster. So I have to see who's playing this week before I can bet.
Yeah, fair points.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. And I can understand both looks. I can understand the Niners plus 3.5 after this huge change here. What do you think about this total, Bebsy, that's shot all the way has a shot that's just gone up a 1.5 from the 2 points at some books up to 51.
Well, again, I think everything has to do with who's playing in the secondary for San Francisco. Because if they have legit NFL starters, this could be a low-scoring affair. This could end up being a dogfight. But if those guys are out again and you're playing a 7th-string corner or 8th-string now, I guess, off the practice squad, then they're just gonna torch the secondary. We know that the Rams can move the ball through the air, and there's nothing stopping them if San Francisco has no healthy corners, which currently they don't. I don't know, like Quan Alexander is also a loss in the passing game because what he lacks in tackling skills, he makes up for in coverage skills. He's a great cover linebacker. So without him, Higbee's going to have a lot of room, even though Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner might be the most underrated run or linebacker in the league for not much longer. I mean, people are starting to wake up to how good he is, but there's just so much missing, and we need to find out if Mosley's playing. If Mosley's playing, it's a tight game, and I lean Niners. If he's not, then this is just going to be a stomping from the Rams.
Well, join us Sunday, 11 a.m. for our kickoff show. There is all of Sunday's action. Whale Capper, are you cool to hang with us for these 2 Monday games?
I think I got to bail, guys. It's getting super dark out here.
Sure.
I'll listen and chat live, though. Best of luck, and this is great input. I love Bebsy's takes. I got to tune in and chat more often. You guys do these every Tuesday and Friday, it sounds like?
Yeah,
Tuesday.
No, every Tuesday and Sunday. We'd love to have you on, Whale Capper. We love you. Do you want to tell the chat a little bit about the big deep dive podcast that you do?
Oh, yeah. Check out the deep dive. Just like this, we'll go through every single game. Wherever you get your podcast, it's a good listen. We ham it up. We go run down the card, make our cases for every pick, and You won't be taking on the betting action on an NFL Sunday without all of the news and info and tips you need. So this is a good compliment to the odds.com Tom show.
Oh, it's a great show. And follow Whale Capper at @whale_capper on Twitter. He's an absolutely great follow. He puts out his action each week and he pins it up there for the week. And just a great guy, great capper. Thanks so much for joining us, man. We'd love to have you back, my friend.
All right, continued success. Best of luck, guys.
Thanks, Will. Love your takes, man.
There he is, Whale Capper. It was turning into ghost stories.
I love a good ghost story, though.
Okay.